Wake me up before you go.
All right, that's going to be for your wussification.
Hey, welcome everybody. We're talking about hunting today. I thought I'd lead us in with a little bit of wham. How do you like that, Kevin? You like this? A good intro music?
Horrible.
Wake me up. Take me dancing tonight.
What does this have to do with hunting?
I just was kicking it up a notch. Me and the laugh track, Sammy, we're having fun over here with some wham. Wake me up before you go.
Goodness.
Take me dancing tonight, right? Okay.
Sammy says no.
Okay. That's probably not exactly the intro you were thinking about when we're talking about hunting in Texas.
I do have editing tools, luckily.
No, we don't need to edit that. We're dead on. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to How to Be a Texan. Today, I thought it'd be fun to talk about hunting in Texas. And what do you think about hunting, Kevin?
I think hunting is awesome. I haven't done a whole lot of it, though.
I think
I
it's
did a little bit growing up, but not nearly as much as you. You're a seasonal hunter, aren't you?
I'm as redneck as you can get. I like to hunt and shoot stuff and eat it, and it's awesome. I think God gave us the ability to go and hunt and kill stuff and eat it. I think it's fantastic. Now, I do have a theory about that, and I've always been taught that if you're going to shoot something, don't shoot anything that you're not planning on eating.
Well, yeah, of course.
Or consuming.
Yeah.
And so I've got a little bit of a weird theory on the ducks because I just don't like the ducks, but I've always got dogs that do like the ducks. So if I've ever shot ducks, if nobody takes them right there, then I generally kind of give them. I've actually cooked them for my dogs before. I'm just saying that. I don't waste. I'm just saying. I don't want to.
No, the theory is don't kill something unless you're going to eat it.
Right. Well, my dogs love it. And I sure loved it. Back in the day, I loved the sport of duck hunting. I just hated the taste of ducks.
Right. So it's opposite of your theory.
Well, I'm thinking, homeless people
hunting,
in Africa or something might like it.
You were shipping it over there?
No, I was just giving them my dogs. So anyway.
Did they like it cooked or did they prefer it raw?
Oh, they'd eat it pretty much any way I'd give it to them.
Yeah.
And they enjoyed it. So anyway, that's not the point. What I thought we'd talk about is, again, if you live in Texas, you're coming to Texas, hunting's a big deal. Mm-hmm. And so is fishing. So, we could look at, if you're a birder or if you're just a wildlife enthusiast or you love to fish saltwater or freshwater, or if you like to hunt, and there's a billion different forms of hunting. There's photography-based hunting, and I think as I age, I kind of tend to like that more and more.
Photography-based hunting?
Well, it's not like you can stun something like on Star Trek. When you truly go out and hunt it, it's not like you can stun it, Spotty, or Scotty, like on Star Trek. You shoot it, and there's no like catch and release when you're hunting. And so some of the types of hunting that are out there for people that really are interested, or their main kind of categories. They're generally kind of bird, varmint, and then kind of big game. Mm-hmm. And the big game is more like the whitetail. And in Texas, whitetail hunting is king. Mm-hmm. And now,
what are the varmints? What varmints are you hunting?
Squirrels, rabbits, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And then
have you ever eaten squirrel?
I have.
Yeah.
But that's a very, very, kind of Oklahoma thing.
Yeah, or me. Louisiana, too. I think they do a lot of that in Louisiana.
Well, yeah, and then there's these giant river rats, and, oh, my gosh.
That sounds horrible.
Oh, it is horrible. But they're massive. They are so big that you could shoot them with a .22 and just kind of fill them up.
What's a river rat?
I don't know. It's called a nutria.
Oh, the Nutra rat. Yeah, I've heard of that.
I don't know if you've ever seen that or not, but it's it's about the size of a medium dog, and quite disturbing. Like if I've ever played golf in Colorado, there's nutria all over the place, and you just kind of want to shoot them. So anyway, but hunting in Texas, just so you know, there's about 40%. I've got some I've actually done some research on this.
But before you get in there, there's a Seinfeld bit for everything.
Do we have a Seinfeld bit on hunting?
On Nutra rats.
Oh, no, I don't know that one. No. No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
George buys this super expensive hat. And
it was made of nutria fur?
Well, the real one wasn't. It was made out of some super expensive material. He gets Elaine to put it on her expense report because she's acting as CEO of this thing. And CFO is like, hey, you can't expense this stuff. And anyway, through some series of circumstances, he ends up losing the hat, or a girlfriend steals it. She has to produce it for her expense report. So he goes, Kramer has a connection for these hats. And he goes and gets one. It turns out to be made out of Nutria rat fur instead of mink fur or whatever it was. So,
well, I can always.
That's my connection with the Nutria rats.
I can always count on you for a Seinfeld reference. So thank you for that. But I will say that.
Oh, it was Sable. It was supposed to be Sable.
Oh, yeah.
The original hat was Sable, and then he replaces it with a Nutria rat hat.
Beautiful. Sable furs are quite beautiful. Furs in general are, kind of a lightning rod topic, that not necessarily I'm getting into it. If you want to wear a fur, fine, but I'm not going to throw red paint on it. Like that's the PETA thing is, you throw a bucket of paint on it to try to ruin it. But I don't care. I don't personally go around wearing furs. I think the Von Erichs did.
Yes, I think they did.
Yeah, I think that was a big deal back in the day. But
now, come on, you do wear furs. You just don't want to admit it.
No. I know my mother had one.
Yeah,
and it was weird.
Was it real?
I think so. It may have been Nutria too, because it's about all we could afford back in the day. But anyway,
river rat.
I remember
coat for Christmas.
She was proud of that, and I think she wore it like once, and then just kept it in the closet. And
must have been real then.
I don't know, but regardless, it didn't get a lot of wear. But if you look at the hunting industry in Texas, there's a ton of different stats on what it looks like, but it's a multi-billion-dollar industry in Texas. About the number of hunters and their traveling and their expenditures on hotels and restaurants and hunting products and all that. It's a huge industry, and there's a lot of jobs that are created just as a result of really the hunting and fishing industry, not only in Texas but really across the United States. And we've seen that it's rising in popularity. There's about 40% of Americans over the age of 16 that are involved in hunting, fishing, or outdoor recreational sports like bird watching and things of that nature. What we have seen, though, is since about 1980, we've seen a general decrease in the numbers of hunters in Texas, which is shocking and alarming. But
is it just in Texas, or is it across the board?
No, I think it's across the board. This was just a study that was done by Texas A&M, and it showed how since 1980, generally the number of hunters has decreased. And I have a lot of theories on that, but I'll get into that in just a bit. But I thought, first of all, you say you don't typically have a lot of exposure to hunting. You like shooting guns or anything like that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so shooting's fun.
Shooting's fun. I mean, I don't have a problem with hunting. I just never, I don't have a lease or anything. I don't really have anywhere to go to do it.
Right.
But,
yeah.
Now, we did a team building event at the shooting range over in Dallas a while back.
Okay.
So I had all my guys from
that's so
the
much
whole
fun.
central region. One of the guys that works for me out in California is a professional on he does these pistol shooting events.
Oh, wow.
And he is
I bet he's amazing.
Ranked number 6 in the country. So he brought all kinds of guns with him, and so we went and did the team building event, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, that is fun.
It was killer. Yeah.
Well,
I shouldn't say killer and related to guns.
No.
It was a fun event.
Yeah, well, it is fun. Yeah, I mean, frankly, going out and shooting sporting clays or shooting target practice or sighting in your rifles or whatever. I mean, that's actually a lot of fun. Some of it can be, tiring and hard work and all that, because I know that when I sight in my deer rifle, it's it's a lot of work, because it's generally you're sighting in at 100 and 300 yards, and those guns have a pretty big kick to them. So
you ever shot a muzzle loader?
I have
black powder.
I have, and I haven't shot black powder, but I've shot muzzle. I've shot Oh, no. I'm thinking of the noise reducers that they put on the end of shotguns that take some of the kick out.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking about the black powder. You
No.
put the ball and the patch in there and pack it down. Yeah.
No.
So my dad worked for a company when I was a kid that made those. They made replicas of the old school black powder rifles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we got to shoot those. We had pistols and
I bet that
rifles.
would have a huge kick.
Oh, yeah. My brother still has one. So,
Really?
yeah, at one point, we got Christmas, for 1 year for Christmas, we got rifles.
Yeah.
And my brother wanted a black powder, so he got a black powder. I wanted a deer rifle, so I got a 30-30
Oh, yeah.
deer rifle.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, I just love shooting stuff. I mean, it's fun. And I grew up where, again, going to Oklahoma to my grandparents' place up in south central Oklahoma, and we went up there all the time. And as soon as my dad thought I was kind of age, and that was probably 7, when I started shooting in earnest. And the .22 rifle was the weapon of choice, because it felt like it was kind of the most safe, and which actually I don't know that it was, because a .22 rifle, a long rifle shell, will travel well over a mile at a very, very high speed.
Really?
And it'll reflect off stuff. So there's a lot of danger, even with shooting a .22, but it's got no kick. And, I would have my first little rifle I got, I was so proud of it, because it was a little .22 rifle, and it had, a little magazine with 11 shots in it. It was just awesome. So I just loved it. It was Remington, and I just loved it. And so my grandmother, she would just turn me loose. Once I proved myself, she would turn me loose, and I would go to multiple kind of ponds around their place, and she'd be like, Kyle, the turtles eat my baby fish. I want the turtles gone. And so my job was just to go around and shoot the turtles. And I loved it. And so if you could master shooting a turtle, at 60, 80 yards, and this is a 1.5-inch target at 80 yards that pops up out of the water for a very limited time. And if you're able to shoot that consistently, you get to be a pretty good marksman.
Did you get pretty good at it?
Oh, yeah. And that's how I became a pretty good shot.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then you just develop. Now I'm terrible with any kind of a handgun. And frankly, I'm quite bad with a shotgun.
Handguns are a different animal. I'm horrible with a handgun.
Oh yeah, no, they're just a totally different animal than a rifle.
Yeah,
and a shotgun is totally different than a rifle as well, because it's kind of like a Jedi with a lightsaber. You're kind of moving with the Force, and you're kind of using physics and swings and wind, and you're trying to shoot something at a very, very fast pace, like a dove. Which is very, very difficult to shoot. But as far as bird hunting, that's kind of the intro, is really dove hunting. So that's a real popular thing to do in Texas, because we're in the dove flyway, and we have, millions and millions of doves that fly through, from their, I guess it's their summer. Oh, no, what is it? In the summer, they go up north, and the winter, they come down really to Central America, down to even probably South America. But
no, wait, they fly south for the winter.
South for the winter.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Reverse that.
Yeah.
So, but regardless, we have.
I went dove hunting one time as a teenager.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all we killed was rattlesnakes.
You told me that. Yeah.
We didn't get any doves at all. We killed probably 12 rattlesnakes.
Well, but even if you had the opportunity to shoot a dove, they, as an old baseball player, they look like knuckleballs coming at you. They flutter and fly, and they don't take a direct line, and you have to swing kind of through their course and then get them. Yeah. And so that's how I was introduced. Turtles, and then eventually, up to squirrels, and then I got to shoot dove. And then my dad, deer hunting was never a big deal, or turkeys or anything like that. We would kind of shoot whatever we had to kind of eat stuff, and that was generally squirrels, which you think's nasty, but we did a lot of that. And then, but it was really after college and in grad school when I got into kind of deer hunting, and a buddy of mine introduced me to it, and we got on the deer lease, and we had a deer lease down in Junction, Texas for 10 years or so. And I just got all hooked into it. And at first, I remember, the first time I ever shot a deer, and I just cried like a baby because it was so moving, because this is such a beautiful, majestic animal. And now the only saving grace on that was I knew that I was literally going to eat that. And I was just shooting something so that I didn't have a butcher do it artificially for me. But the first deer I killed, it was very, very moving and emotional. And the second, third, fourth, fifth, they were still emotional, but not like that first one. I kind of knew what to expect, and then, as you're butchering them and all that, it's just it's hard work, and so you kind of get a little callous to that. But
you ever hunted the wild hogs?
Oh yeah. And I've done that with bow and arrow. Yeah. So I got to the point where you kind of get to a point where, as a gun hunter, where you're like, yeah, okay, all I'm looking for is trophies. And then you want to take it to the next level. Well, the next level is generally archery. And so I went to archery, and I was full blast on archery for years, where I got all into it. And because with a gun, you can reach out and touch something at 300-400 yards. No big deal. With a good sight, you can just sit there on a perch and look at something for way, way out and get it. No problem. Provided you're a decent shot, no wind, all that. So, but then with a bow, you have to go kind of Apache. You're up in a tree, you're within 20 yards. They smell you. They smell the human scent, so you have to mask all the human scent. You have to put, I would literally I would have all my clothes in a trash bag with cedar for the week leading up to when I was going to go. I would put that on after I kind of showered with this human neutralizing scent. And then I would spray fox urine on my boots, and I would walk in, and the deer and all the animals in the woods thought that I was a fox walking through the woods.
They don't mind the foxes?
Well, it's just part of the natural ecosystem, as opposed to me not being. And so I would walk in, I'd get up there, and I'd hunt, and so it was fun.
How much does fox urine generally sell for?
I haven't bought something that in a very long time.
You bought it at Costco, like in a big old 20-gallon vat of fox urine?
I just milked it myself. Can you imagine? Excuse me, Mr. Fox.
That's disturbing.
I just need to collect a specimen. Can you imagine?
Pee in this cup for me, please.
Yeah, I don't think that would go quite that well. So, but anyway, so for me, it's been fun, and it's been fun teaching my boys, and I've got twins. One of them very much likes the experience and likes the hunting and all that, and the other one is absolutely the opposite. He is not on board with it at all. He has such a heart for animals that he is absolutely opposed to ending a life on his own at any cost. And so I have to respect that. So I get it, and it's just kind of part of the deal. So me and one go, and me and the other, we go do something else. Yeah. But I don't try to force that on.
No, yeah, you don't want to force that.
Yeah, but I tell you what, I've got a theory on. I was telling you that since 1980, we've seen a decline in overall hunting, and I've kind of got this theory. It goes back to some of the stuff that you and I've talked about before about, the stress of life and the connectedness of technology that we have, and frankly, just kind of the entertainment and ease of access to entertainment that we have right now. And so I'm going to call it kind of the...
What are you calling it?
Well, I'm not calling it wham. I'm calling it the wussification of mankind. That's what I'm calling it.
Didn't that start with wham? Kind of.
Well, it kind of did. It kind of did. So
it all comes full circle here with your intro.
I do like this song. It's a great song. It kind of gets me a little peppy.
I don't see Wham out there with a bow and
you can't play this
fox urine on their boots.
And I always thought I was going to go from the gun to the bow to the spear, and then ultimately the Tarzan knife in my mouth, and I just jump down on something and stab it.
Yeah.
And I always thought I was going to go to that, but I never did yet. Yeah. And now that I'm 100 years old, I just don't think I'm going to go back that way. I'm not going to jump out of a tree with a knife like Tarzan.
Now you just take rubber bands and put it on, cow balls, and that's about the extent of it.
No, now the thing that I wished so if I could be a kabillionaire, I'd love to figure out a way to stun animals so it's truly kind of like fishing where you go catch and release. In hunting, there's no release. You catch. That's it. Mm-hmm. They're dead. And so I wished I could do something like that where we could figure out some catch and release thing. You can't do that now. And now there's a huge industry, especially in South Texas, with some of these big time game ranches where they've got the high fences and they've imported all these really awesome animals from Africa. And so you go and you get these amazing animals. And so you can get an elk, a mule deer, a whitetail that you're guaranteed to have a kabillion points on it. And, it look like a Christmas tree that you just shot. Or some of these really cool African animals that are out there. So anyway, I mean, and I'm talking like kudu. I'm not talking like an elephant or something that's going to cause, the press to go crazy on you. These are pretty standard, deer type thing that's just.
Well, I think if you're going to eat it, you hunt it, you eat it, that's good. But some of this stuff just gets into the bizarro world.
Oh, no. The dentist that goes and has 5 lion heads on his wall. Okay,
that's the point of that.
That's disturbing. Yeah. Okay, so I'm certainly not into exotic trophy hunting. I've enjoyed the sport of hunting. And certainly have had, good experiences and really, really bad experiences out there too.
Trophy hunting apparently is actually good for animal conservation.
Oh. Okay.
Animal constipation.
Yeah. I remember hearing stuff about it. Like there was a podcast I listened to that mentioned it once, and then I also saw a TV show where they talk about it. I can't remember the specifics on it.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's right in certain cases. But in this case where he's describing where, let's set up a big, facility in Texas and bring in animals for Africa and just kind of, that's not conservation.
Oh, yeah. I think I might have missed that part.
No. Well, and again, these are, it's got, I think some of them are pretty healthy. And so these are kind of the deer of Africa, and they have a real good buck to doe, and they're breeding, and it's very healthy population. And they're like, there's a cull buck, we need to carve that one out, and it's so. I mean, those are legit. What I'm talking about are going and getting the ivory and shooting elephants just to shoot them, and that is absolutely not okay. Or the dentist going over just so that he can get a fifth lion.
Why you keep picking on dentists?
Because I've seen there's one of those.
You're an anti-dentite.
No, I'm telling you. Everybody is.
You're a rabid anti-dentite.
No.
The next thing you know, you'll be saying they should go to their own schools.
Well, they do need to go to their own school. Sorry, they do. No, I've got a lot of dentist buddies. It's all good.
That is straight from a Seinfeld episode.
Okay.
And your response was even exactly what the response was on the episode.
Okay, so back to the wussification of mankind. And so this
it's of mankind.
Of mankind. And so this goes back to maybe one of our Blue Zone discussions, because when you think about it, when I try to get my boys, I'm saying, hey, let's go out this weekend, we'll go hunting, or we'll just go out and we'll go whatever, hiking, or let's go camping or whatever. Well, the idea of getting people off of their iPhones.
Sammy.
Yeah, it's like Sammy's sitting right here next to us, and she's on her iPhone. Hey, man, what's going on?
As the
Instagram.
people are listening to this on their iPhone.
Which is fine, please do.
Everyone out there, please shut down your phones and close your laptops. Thank you.
go out and hug
or
an
listen to
armadillo.
a podcast while you're hunting.
Yeah.
You ever hear people that start a meeting like that? Please close your laptops and turn off your cell phones.
Oh, no, a guy I worked for, he did that.
See, I just feel like if I have to do that, that means I'm a lousy speaker. If I'm not able to keep your attention and you would rather soak your face into a bunch of radiation,
Yeah,
that's more on me than it is on you.
I guess. But I'm telling you, that's
you have a point.
that's
100%.
that's culture. I'm telling you, the wussification of mankind is we're there, and we're so addicted to our phones, we're so addicted to our screens and our video games. And so when I tell my boys, I'm like, hey, let's go out camp for the weekend. They're like, they don't want to do it because it takes them away from, they're going to be out of data range. They're going to, not be on their phone, texting their friends or whatever. And they're going to have to disconnect from technology. That's inconvenient, uncomfortable, and it just gets them away from this super engaging entertainment that we have, which is on all of our screens, this virtual life that we have. And so I think a lot of the stress that we have is based on us carrying these phones around because I'm immediately accessible via this phone with email, text, calls, whatever. And so maybe in 1980, think about 1980, the pace of play was so much slower.
Well, in 1980, you had a work phone at work and a home phone at work at home.
Right. That's right.
Nobody recalls you on your home phone at work.
No. So
now people will text you or call you any time of the day or night.
That's right. So in 1980, my dad would say, okay, we're going to Oklahoma for the weekend. We're going to go, and be like, all right, let's go. So we drive and we listen to Merle Haggard all the way up on an 8-track, and then we get up there and I'm looking for stuff to do. So I go shoot turtles, and then I go wandering around back by the river and get ticks all over me and whatever. And eventually I start figuring out how to fish and hunt and explore and, Davy Crockett it.
And get rid of ticks.
Oh, yeah. Ticks are bad. If you're coming to Texas, we got ticks here, so beware. But so the rest of the story is that I think urban sprawl is kind of dwindling down some of the kind of the hunting areas that we have as well. Now, Texas is so stinking big. There's plenty of areas to hunt.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere and hunt birds. You can hunt deer. You can hunt, even there's tons and tons of public land. So there's plenty of opportunities out there. And frankly, I love the experience. I'm getting older where I like I said a little while ago, I kind of like capturing the image of the game on my phone or video. I really enjoy that really more than the actual kill itself. Used to, I really enjoyed the kill and the trophy of it. But now I think as I age, and I had older sage friends that told me that, they'll say you'll go through an evolution in life where you're kind of bloodthirsty for, game. And then all of a sudden you'll kind of come up and over that, and you'll get to the point where you just really enjoy nature. And again, we've talked about that too, where when in life are you ever just sitting there and being still and quiet and watching? Very, very seldom.
Yeah.
So, and then I've got one more theory about the wussification of mankind, and it's really what I call the dread of the dead. And so, think about that. If you shoot something, you have to go approach it, touch it, and clean it. Mm-hmm. Most people gross out at that.
Oh, yeah.
And so the first time I shot a deer with my boys with me, they literally were about to yak. They were like, oh, my gosh, are you actually going to do something? I'm like, yeah, we've got to clean this thing. And then I started cleaning it, and they were just like, that's the grossest thing I've ever seen in my life, And so, I butchered the whole deer.
But, that's good for them if you can get them to make the connection to this is where food comes from.
Yeah.
When you go and buy a steak at the grocery store, it didn't come in nature in that little plastic package, right? So it comes from an animal.
Yeah, this dread of the dead, they're like, oh, well, let's go to Chick-fil-A and get some chicken nuggets. I'm like, where do you think they came from? That used to be a chicken.
Yeah.
Somebody did something to that chicken to get it to this wonderful flavor of Chick-fil-A that you're popping in your mouth with a little ranch on it.
Right.
So anyway, I think that is a common deal now, this dread of the dead. And I think, frankly, it's good to go medieval every once in a while and be able to butcher your own food. And again, that's kind of going back to this Renaissance thing that I'm trying to create. And I'm not going full scale where I'm raising my own, meat and whatever. But I do like the fact that I've got a garden. I've got fresh eggs.
You're raising your own meat.
I've got honey.
You got cows over there.
Oh yeah, we are going to butcher that sucker. I'm not. We're going to take our little bull calf.
No, you're not going to butcher that.
Our steer.
You're going to take it to a butcher.
Yeah. Once he gets to be about 800 pounds, we're going to take him off. So yeah. So anyway, hunting I think is fun, and there's a lot of facts and figures on that. And frankly, there's a lot of people that are absolutely opposed to hunting, and I respect that. Again, I've got a son that's absolutely opposed to that, and my wife is not a fan of hunting at all, but she appreciates how much I have loved it in my lifetime. And it's really not the love of killing, it's the love of seeing nature, and really kind of what God's given us, frankly, to enjoy and as food. So, and I've never wanted to, kind of go against that. So again, the only thing that I've really done wrong on is probably ducks, and I just hate duck meat. But I love shooting them. I do love shooting them. I mean, there's something magical, and it's miserable. It is miserable duck hunting. I'll tell you that right now. The best duck hunting is going to be when it's 20 degrees outside and you're wading in chest-deep water that is literally freezing your stuff off. And that is the absolute best time to be out there duck hunting, because it is awesome. And you spread all these little decoys out and you make little cool quacking noises. And I'm telling you what, it is beautiful. When they circle around and you quack at them and they come in and they cup their wings, oh, it's an amazing sight.
And then you feed them to your dogs.
You blast away, baby. So, yeah.
That's horrible.
Well, it is what it is. So, anyway. So, hey, you non-Texans, come on out, come on down, and we'll show you a good hunt. So, but there are some kind of scary things out there. And I was just, I was thinking through some of the interesting stories that I've had. I won't bore you with many of them, but I've told you about the rattlesnake that I had, right, when I was coming out of deer blind.
That was in Junction.
That was in Junction, and
Yeah.
I was being cocky, and I didn't get my flashlight out, and that junction was kind of right under my foot. I've also had skunks kind of come right up under me. I've been sitting, literally waiting for ducks to come in.
Did you get sprayed by the skunk?
No, I was up about 12 feet over its head, and it didn't see me, and I did not move. I mean, that's one where you're just like, okay, I am going to totally be quiet and still for a while. And it was a great
You're
big
like,
fat
dude, I already
skunk.
sprayed myself with fox urine. No, I don't need a skunk spray.
I did.
Don't need a liter of skunk spray on top.
Yeah, and then one time I saw something that was pretty amazing. I was sitting there just deer hunting, and I was looking out over this big wide open field, and I watched this bobcat come up, and it was just majestic and awesome. And so it was coming from one direction on this game trail, and up came this really beautiful, awesome buck, a male deer with giant horns. And it came up, and they just had this standoff. And the bobcat clearly was alpha, because it just sat down, and it was waiting for the buck to do something. And the buck was trying to get past it to go over to the pond to get something to drink. And I just watched this whole scene play out. And then the buck finally took this gigantic circle around the bobcat because it was so intimidated by that cat. The bobcat was itty bitty.
And the cat just stayed there?
It just stayed there and watched it. And finally it made this giant circle around, went to the pond, and then he got up and kept going.
Huh.
It was beautiful. I wished I had that on film because it was amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just amazing what you're going to see out there. And then one time I was sitting there waiting for the sun to come up, and I was duck hunting. We had our decoys out, and the water was literally 4 or 5 feet from my feet. And I was sitting with my legs spread out, just my feet out from me, and I had my back up against a tree. And a raccoon came down, and it literally just crawled across my leg because I was full camo. I had my face camoed out. It didn't see me, and it literally just crawled across my leg.
That's crazy.
It was weird. And again, that was another one of those moments where you're just going to be very still. So, you just never know what you're going to get when you get out in the wild.
Very good.
All right. Appreciate y'all listening to us. Have a great week.
Yeah, y'all find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker. Leave a review. Love to hear from you.
All right.
Adios.
Adios.